So maybe you're training to be a combat drone pilot, or maybe you're already in the military and you're trying to change your career, or simply just curious what it takes to work with UAVs. Today I want to give you some insight into gear that me and my squad mates found useful during our missions and deployments. And the first thing that I've bought at the early stage of my military career was this tactical tablet pouch, and it frees your hands so you don't need to hold your tablet all of the time like this, because I used to hold it like this and then I needed to use my radio, and also I needed to like use my phone or something else. So it's quite useful. You see, you just place your tablet right here and you can lower it, you can put it here if you want it further. Now I can use any tools that I want, and I can talk on the radio, and I can even simply point at something to my squad mates. Also, it's quite useful while driving because there's no tablet holders, as I've seen a lot of them. There's no good tablet holders, let's say it like this, on in your car. So putting it right here and your hands on the steering wheel, so you can look at directions, because in the army we almost don't use Google Maps. We use military maps on our tablets, and that's quite useful. But after some time, especially after a few military trainings, I've ditched this one because, yeah, sure, it can hold another tourniquet right here in those loops, but it limits my ability to reach for other things. For example, if my this arm would be wounded, this limits my reach here, and also I have a pouch here, so I can't look directly in the contents of this. I need to like do this or something like this. So if you're thinking about buying something like this, I strongly would recommend trying it on first, and keeping in mind that it makes you feel like you gained weight, let's say it like this. And during my trainings, because of this, I put tourniquets on my limbs like 10 or 15 seconds longer than my comrades. The next thing I bought was a physical compass. And sure, you can use your phone or a smartwatch, but I personally don't really trust them. You see my Garmin's here. Yeah, they show the rough direction you're pointing at, but they always give me 5 to 10 degrees off. The same with my phone, even though it's new, but well, my Garmin's, maybe they're old and they've seen some action. Well, but I'm still more leaning into an old-fashioned way of using compass. And yeah, maybe it's just me, because my colleague's iPhone is always showing the actual directions. And for pilots, compasses not just for navigation. You see, sometimes you need to know if your drone is calibrated correctly, so your drone compass is showing the right numbers, or you need to align your antenna in a certain way so you know it's pointing in the direction of your flight, or maybe even like a tree line or an edge of the forest, so you can check if it wouldn't block your antenna signal. And it doesn't necessarily need to be something big like I have around here. I just like this one. And previously I used to have a small Chinese made out of plastic. All it needs to do is just to show you the right numbers. But what I like about this one, you're not only getting a compass here, but you can see numbers around here, so you can just align it with your antenna and you get your direction. Then obviously a knife, other than its original purpose, you can use it a lot of ways. Like it can act like a screwdriver, like a wedge, or even like a stick when you're trying to reach in some tight spaces or easily clean the dirt out of your equipment. This one is just a random no name, no brand knife I've bought back in 2013 in a random camping shop. Haven't even sharpened it that much, and having a dull knife in your pocket is also useful because you wouldn't be able to damage any wires while using it as a screwdriver near some electrical equipment. You're not afraid to lose it, to make it dull again and stuff like this. And those teeth here actually are really good at removing zip ties, so I don't need this edge to be that sharp because I have those teeth here. And this one I always carry in my pocket. There are some cases when I don't have my vest on, so I will always have some of my equipment with me. But I also have this one, and this one is actually sharp, and I use it as a usual knife. And it's not as utilitarian as my dull knife in my pocket. So also this one was a gift, and I don't like getting it dirty that much. If you're interested, it's from Ukrainian brand called Blade Brothers Knives. And one more thing, I know that knives might be a hobby for a lot of people or something like this, but on deployment, everything you have on you should and must be purely utilitarian. There's no place for showing off and for using useless items. Because in my squad I had a guy who wore this biggest knife in its sheath, and he wore it like this on his belt. And it wasn't really handy, but I've seen how it made him feel like a real man. And we had a situation when he needed quickly cut some wires or something like this, I don't remember, and he had completely forgot about his knife around here. So he spent a lot of time looking for his multi-tool in his pocket, and then spent a lot of time trying to open it and get knife out of it, because he was also wearing gloves. So he wasted a lot of time because he had not utilitarian item on him, which also he had completely forgot about it. Moving next is multi-tool, or maybe you call it like a Swiss Army knife. Mine is Gerber Multiplier. I like this one because it unravels really fast. You can do it like this, and you have pliers already ready to work, and you can get it with one hand out of your pocket. Boom, ready. Also, you have pliers here, some screwdrivers, a knife that I've showed you. And this is probably the second used tool that I have on me. Apart from wire cutters inside of a multi-tool, a lot of times I carry just a small regular wire cutters in, well, one of my pouches or something close, because in this one wire cutters are here, so you wouldn't be able to cut something precisely, but with those kind of cutters you can cut like one wire in a bundle. So let's not forget about this one. Naturally, you might need some wire strippers. Sure, you can use like big ones like I have in my garage, but you wouldn't be able to pack a lot of things on you, obviously. So I would recommend getting a small ones. The smaller the better. This is just few euros from China, and it has blades on both of the sides, so you can easily strip some wires, and it weighs practically nothing, so I can always have this on me all of the times. I found this quite useful while I was working with detonators, because the detonator leads can be cut by anything, even by a knife, if you just like press a wire against the tree and cut it like you would cut anything else, and then you strip the wires with this with such an ease. I just like it a lot. Now, it might sound too obvious, but a power bank is a must, because it can charge a lot of things. Obviously, a tablet that you might have here, a phone, because, well, I don't know if how it works in foreign armies, but in Ukrainian armies, phones are a crucial thing to communication. Also, some power banks can charge laptops, which are obviously used a lot while working with drones. The same goes for drone controllers, and also nowadays a lot of mechanisms use battery charging things. Well, I hope you get it. Obviously, you can charge your RC, your drone controllers, and nowadays a lot of mechanisms and devices that we use can be charged by power banks. For example, like antenna, power amplifier or booster, or if you're an FPV pilot, you might heard of turning mechanisms on top of your masts. Another thing that I want to buy, but I still haven't bought, is a converter that lets you use a usual FPV battery as a power bank with a usual USB and Type-C outputs. Obviously, if you're flying drones, you would need a capacity checker controller. I don't know how they call it. It checks the capacity of your batteries. A lot of drone manufacturers actually provide such devices with their drone complexes, but it's always a good idea to have one of your own. And another cool thing that there's a battery checkers out there with built-in servo checkers. This one is cool because you can power any servo with the battery that you're checking. I don't have this particular one, but I have separate battery and servo checkers. This one I have with me all of the times, but this servo checker I have in my garage because it's not particularly handy for transportation because it needs a separate battery for it. So I just keep it at home when I need to troubleshoot something. And this small trinket with 2 coins is actually a device designed to test your detonators, but since it's not an official tool that everyone told me to use, I wouldn't recommend it to you either. Let me know if you have some similar devices that are available in your countries. And if you would be working with detonators and initiation boards, you would obviously have a lot of fuses, pins, shunts, or whatever it would be called in your case. I have these wire loops when I used to work with exploding drones, let's say it like this. So I would recommend carrying them wherever you go on all pieces of your clothing, because you never know in what situation, in what clothes you might need to disarm some kind of device that you're familiar with. If you carry it like in a few places on your vest, maybe on your belt, so that way whenever you reach, you can deactivate a bomb. And for those people who are not familiar with kamikaze drones, initiation boards are the devices which are responsible for the explosion. They detect a sudden stop of movement, or like any set of rules just gives an electric pulse on your detonator and the bomb explodes. And as a precaution, a lot of such devices have physical pins or shunts or wire loops like I have here, just as a precaution. That way you need to remove this loop just before you launch your drone to activate your initiation board. And another thing that shouldn't be underestimated is sunglasses. In my case, I have these ballistic glasses that actually are my vision glasses, and under direct sun they get darker, so it gives me an opportunity to spot an enemy drone flying from further, so my eyes wouldn't have to adapt. Also, there are some cases when you need to land your drone, how we call it, by your eyes, when your drone camera is damaged or is malfunctioning, so you need to land it just by looking at it from outside. And sometimes sunglasses can really help you with it. And I wouldn't say that before I had this, I was just using my regular eyesight glasses, that my job was harder than it is now, but well, it's just a nice bonus. One thing that I recommend for everyone is just a usual flashlight that can be put on your head. Sorry, just like this. This one I have from China, and what I like about this one is that it's detachable from its like string, and it has a few modes. It has white light and it has red light. Due to the physics of red color, its wavelength is the hardest to detect from the distance. It doesn't necessarily need to be like a Miltech type or like an expensive military cool light. It can be just a regular Chinese one, because the only thing it's supposed to do is to light light your path at night. Might seem obvious, but it's the one thing that a lot of recruits seem to miss. Now, one of the most versatile repair items, in my opinion, is duct tape and zip ties. And this is actually a clear duct tape, which we jokingly call an aviational duct tape. And zip ties, I used to carry quite a few of them in my mollies, in my vest, like this. So that way you would always have a small repair kit on you. Yeah, you can just put it here. It doesn't get in your way, and you can use smaller ones if you need, if you know that you don't need long ones. Well, it might look stupid, but there's a saying, if it looks stupid but works, it ain't stupid. And also, as for duct tape, I use just to carry it like this on a zip tie on my vest. So I would have already a repair kit on me all of the times, like this. Some drone manufacturers actually put some zip ties and duct tape in a drone package when they're transferring drones to your unit. But if they don't worry, you'll always use those two items on your deployment. And in terms of stuff that you can carry on yourself, that's probably it. So maybe there are some items that you might find useful to carry in your backpack, so it's not as accessible as the stuff you wear on yourself. Let's say it's within 5 minutes reach, it's also close. Everyone has its own idea of such DIY field repair kits. What I found useful was lighter. It doesn't have to be the same form like this. And they're called jet lighters or turbo lighters. I am not sure how it's called in your country. So yeah, like this. You can take just random solder, and if you look closely, yeah, it can melt it. If it can melt solder, that means you would be able to repair any cables just by having two of these items with you. As an alternative, you can have such connectors um, like this or like this, where two wires go here, two wires go here, they interlock, and you have a secure connection. Some people just pack a usual power bank, USB powered soldering iron with them, but I was carrying it a lot of times with me and I haven't been using it, so I ditched it and I just grabbed a few of such connectors or similar connectors, and that works. And one of my previous colleagues even suggested bringing along measuring devices such as light VNA which can help you analyze standing wave ratios for antennas to determine whether antenna is working properly or not, or even some kind of different antenna adapter connector types. But I think that's just an overkill. Maybe you still have some questions, maybe you think that I haven't covered all of the topics, or maybe you have your own idea what you need to bring with your own deployment. Please let me know. I'm up for debate, so don't hesitate to comment. And sorry, I can't keep making those videos as often as I would like them to be, but it is what it is, so please stay with me and see you soon in the future.